night, and welcome to the UD Football Show with head football coach Stan Zweifel joining us here in just a moment on this Monday night. The Spartans are still an unbeaten team, and they're rising up the polls. The American Football Coaches Association Top 25 coming out today, and the Spartans have climbed to number 16 in the country, according to the latest poll, and that coming off of a big win over Nebraska Wesleyan Saturday, 42-23 at Chalmers Field. And again, the Spartan defense made some big plays, 4 takeaways, all interceptions in that ball game. And if memory serves me correct, 3 of those turned into Spartan scores. And so UD's defense comes up big, and the offense also clicking and coming up with a 42-23 victory over a very good Nebraska Wesleyan team. Coach Zweifel talked about how it was going to be a good team that came into Chalmers Field, and the Prairie Wolves did give the Spartans a test, but UD comes up with a win 42-23. So a lot to talk about there, and of course sets up a big ball game on Saturday here at Chalmers Field for homecoming, as the Spartans will take on another unbeaten team. The Co-College Cohawks will come to Dubuque, and first place, sole possession in the Iowa Conference will be on the line coming up this Saturday, and it's a 2 o'clock kickoff. So just a note there, it's 1 hour later than we're used to this season, with a lot of 1 o'clock kickoff times, except for that one out west in Oregon. So a 2 o'clock kickoff this afternoon, or Saturday afternoon at Chalmers Field, and 1:40 with the pregame here on 101.1 The River. So exciting game to talk about, but we're going to visit with Coach Zweifel about the victory over Nebraska Wesleyan when we return. This is the UD Football Show here on 101.1 The River. We're back on Monday night here in October, and it's after a Spartan victory, as the Spartans got a 42-23 victory right here at Chalmers Field, where we're bringing you the UD Football Show tonight, as the Spartans defeated Nebraska Wesleyan, the first ever meeting between those two teams. And Nebraska Wesleyan, the new kid on the block in the Iowa Conference, just starting the season this year in Iowa Conference play, and bringing Coach Stan Zweifel. And Coach, you mentioned that Nebraska Wesleyan was going to be a physical football team,
Yes.
and that was a physical football game on Saturday that you came away with a 42-23 victory.
Yeah, we really thought they could run the ball, and they did try to run the ball. And their quarterback is a nice quarterback, makes some good decisions, big kid, stands in the pocket pretty well. And we got off to an early lead, but they really hung around and came back. And I thought we struggled midway through the second quarter and part of the third quarter, I thought, moving the ball. But, again, limited possessions, and that's a kind of game, I think, Tim, that because of what they do and what we do, the game moved along at a high progress. And we didn't have a lot of possessions in that first half, and we scored on 3 of those possessions. And I think what kind of grayed us a little bit, and by I mean grayed, what upset us on the offense side of the ball, we had some open receivers that we missed. And we're under the mindset you should score every time you have the ball. And I don't know if that's realistic or not, Tim. It surely is. You want to have that kind of mindset offensively. But, again, what stuck out for us, I think, Tim, which has been really kind of a thing that's happened every game this season, is our ability to take the ball away from our opposition and our ability not to turn the ball over. We're 14-plus turnovers in 6 games, which is it's outstanding. And if you have those kind of pluses in your turnover margin, you're going to have a good chance to be successful.
And it's what you do with those turnovers after you get those. And you scored 3 times off of their 4 turnovers. And if I saw the stats correctly today, you scored something like 80 points after opponents' turnovers this season.
I think it's 84 to be
84,
exact.
okay.
And that's a lot of points. And, of course, if you take a look at our margin to victory, a lot of those turnovers that have created points for us has been the difference in the football game. And, I think, as I've mentioned all along, anybody's been listening to us for a while, our team speed allows us to do that. We have a lot of folks getting to the football, rallying the football, extra helmets on the ball, and we're always around passing lanes. We always seem to have guys involved in passing lanes, whether it be DBs, whether it be linebackers, and even Dan Pike got an interception on Saturday, one of our defensive linemen on a screen. So
Coach Miyamoto talked about, he thinks he should be a tight end now, maybe.
He might, but he's not going to be. But we talk all the time about having the ability to get guys to the ball, and we do a lot of things in practice that allow us to run to the football. So I think those things came to fruition. I thought Connor didn't have a good game, but when I looked at the stats again, he's 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, close to 300 yards. And again, he has a unique ability to throw the deep ball, Tim, and we'll continue to highlight that as the season progresses. We'd like to be a little bit more accurate on some of the passes we had a chance to complete, and we did not, but we'll continue to try to do what we can to make explosive plays both on the offensive side of the ball and to limit the explosive plays on the defensive side. Mm-hmm. I'll say this again, Connor O'Malley did a nice job in the punt game, and Braden Neuendorf did a nice job on our kickoff team. And we've been kind of looking at our kickoff team as we progress along the season. We've done an outstanding job. We have such great team speed on our kickoff team. It's one of the most impressive kickoff teams. It's the most impressive kickoff team I've had in my 8 years here. But as I watch around the league and watch people play, we're very, very impressive on our special team play. And again, this game on Saturday coming up is going to be a game that could be flipped. The field could be turned on a special team play, or it could be a special team play that might make the difference. And I think very evenly matched 2 teams coming into Saturday's game.
You always come up with players of the game for the squad, and I noticed offensive player of the game this week was right guard Greg Smith.
Yes.
So talk about the offensive line's play and Greg's play.
You know, I think for the first time on Saturday, I thought, Tim, we were back to being a little bit more physical. We have struggled with our physicality, and I've said this all along. It's as much on the play caller, me, as it is on our offensive unit. We have so many big-time playmakers that there are times I forget about the run game and really try to expand our throw game and get matchups. So it is very hard for our offensive line and our running backs to get a rhythm in the run game. You got to run it to get in that kind. You got to heat the offensive line up. You got to lather up the running back. And we did a little bit more of that on Saturday than we had previously. And Mo Harrion had a great game, but Greg is he's an interesting young man. He transferred to us from Central a year ago with only 1 year of eligibility. What he brings to our offensive unit is a tremendous amount of pride, and he's a very intense young man. Doesn't say but 2 words in every week that I talk to him. Hi, see you later, coach. I guess that's 4, but he doesn't say a lot. And he just lets his action do his talking, and he is really a physical and intense young man. We're really happy to have him, and he's kind of one of the few veterans we have on our offensive line. Him and Pat Cusack are the only 2 seniors that we have on our offensive line. So he did a really nice job in the run blocking portion of us on Saturday's game.
Mm-hmm. I want to go to the second half. Nebraska Wesleyan did make it an interesting ball game. They pulled it within 28-23 with under 10 minutes or around 10 minutes to play in that third quarter, or in the fourth quarter actually, and then 2 big scores back to back. One because of a takeaway, but Najee Toomer coming up with 2 big catches for touchdowns.
I do want to tell you this story because it's pretty funny. I think it's really funny. So I call timeout and I got a play up. I got a play we're going to run. Najee goes, "Hey coach, 55 quick." That's his number on a route that we have. Okay, let's run 55 quick. So we go back in. He convinced me on the huddle to run 55 quick, and he was covered very well. And the ball was slightly underthrown, but god dang, he competed and got that touchdown. And I complimented him on his play calling after that. But he has had a unique ability this year to make big plays for us. He's so explosive, and he's probably one of the fastest receivers in the conference. So then he came back, and we threw the second touchdown pass to him, and I'll be gol danged if he didn't call that play either, because I called another timeout and got the guys together. And I had another route up, and he said, "Coach, if you run naked, I'll be open coming across the middle." So we ran naked, and he was open. So he might have to become the play caller before it's all said and done. 2 for 2 with touchdowns isn't bad. But he has done a tremendous job. And then, of course, EJ Manuel did a heck of a job, our freshman wide receiver. And Dylan Schultz had another big game at tight end. And we're able to continue to really get some good matchups in our receiving core. And Duarte and Austin Morgan, we have some really nice receivers. And I think that's been part of the problem about getting our run game established is our ability to throw.
Were you a bit surprised that they threw the ball a little bit more on you than they did?
I was, but I tell you what they did do. They came up with a very different plan than they had used in any of their previous 5 games defensively. And it was a plan that really was kind of like a prevent type of defense, dropping a kid down in the middle that we didn't expect. And our first couple possessions we scored, and I'm not sure that that didn't take some of the wind out of our sails in our throw game, and I became a little stubborn. I really felt I did, trying to sometimes put that round peg into that square hole. I was trying to pound that a little bit more, and in the middle of the third quarter, we started to run the ball a little bit more and got those folks back to playing some run defense.
Spartans a winner 42-23 over Nebraska Wesleyan. Anything else about that game before we take our break?
I thought it was a great game to get our kids physically ready for what's going to happen on Saturday. And, the weather is going to change, Tim. It is going to change. We're going to get some worse weather than we've had. There's going to be some weather that you got to be physical enough to run the ball in the upper Midwest, as you well know. And so I thought it was a good game in that, and plus it was a good game that it challenged us. As you mentioned, I look up at the clock, it's 28-23, and I'm like, that can't be the score, because I never felt that we were in danger, but gal dang it was. And our defense answered that bell, and so did our offense.
And the Spartans now move on. They've got a challenge awaiting, as we just alluded to, coming up this Saturday as they welcome the College Cohawks, a team that is also ranked this week, according to the AFCA coaches poll. And we'll come back and we'll talk about that matchup. Also, later in the show, Jay Schlichte, a graduate assistant with the University of Dubuque, will be joining us to talk about his views on this Spartan season. And we'll come back with more of the UD Football Show with Stan Zwiefel right after this on 101.1 The River. We're back here on this Monday night. It is a big week on the University of Dubuque campus. It's a homecoming week, and also, there's a big football game involved with the homecoming week as the Spartans will tangle with the College Cohawks right here at Chalmers Field. 2 o'clock kickoff again, and 1:40 with our pregame coverage here on 101.1 The River. And also gives me a chance to let you know about that Spartan Nation Fan Rewards mobile app. You can get to the streaming easily off of that. It's available at the University of Dubuque's website, but why not sign up for that? You go to the Google Play Store and just type that in, Spartan Nation Fan Rewards, and it keeps you updated on events, your rewards that you can collect, the fan cam, the leaderboard, the store to the Babka bookstore, so you can get your Spartan apparel for the ball game, and of course it'll have our live stream of the broadcast video and audio right from there as the Spartans take on the 23rd ranked College Cohawks. They're ranked for the first time this season, Coach, undefeated coming in. Your team 16th, and it's 2 unbeatens going at it for the lead in the Iowa Conference.
First of all, I don't know about the rankings, Tim. I always tell guys it's better be ranked at the end of the season than it is in the middle, obviously. So those things are all good and well, but obviously this is a big game. It's not the conference championship game. They're 6-0. We're 6-0. We'll still have 3 games after this game. But what this game will do will put somebody in a very enviable position in that you could still lose a game later on and still be the champs. Where they have a biggest advantage, I think, Tim, is they've already played Wartburg and Central, now us. And that would put them potentially not having to play a team that could beat you and tie you, which would, potentially put you in the NCAA playoffs. So this is a huge game in those implications, I think, Tim. But like anything else, it's another game. It's Game 7, so you can't go crazy and think this is the end of season in Game 7, whether you win or lose. It doesn't matter. You got to play Game 7. It's important because of the reasons I said, and it's important because that has become a very big rival game for us. The times we've won our league title since I've been here, we're both on their fields against Co. I'm sure that's a motivating factor for them. But for us, when I first got here, as I told everybody, I thought the 3 best programs consistently, as I looked at the conference, was Wartburg, Central, and Co. And so we want to compete with those established conference teams and do well against those guys. It just so happens that we're both coming in undefeated. And it'll really be an exciting game. They're a good football team, at times a great football team. I think the strength of their football team is their tailback. He's the best I've seen so far. We just saw a good one last Saturday against Nebraska Westland. This kid is a little bit faster and a little bit more, got some really shake, and guys don't get a good hit on him, and they give him the ball a ton of times, both in the throw game and the run game. So we're going to have to do a good job of getting an extra hat and hats to the ball carrier, being able to rally to the ball, which we've done very well so far, Tim. That'll be important, and I think the other part of their offense that you have a lot of respect for is their offensive line. They're very physical. On the defense, they return a ton of starters, Tim. Every one of their kids starting on their defense is either a junior or a senior, and they return 7 or 8 starters that have started games for them last year. So they've got experience, and they get aligned properly, and they don't make alignment mistakes. So that alone, if you can do that in defense, gives you a heck of an opportunity to play sound and not give up big plays. I still like our matchups, Tim. As I tell you every week, I like our matchups athletically on both sides of the ball. We will try to get some isolations. We'll try to throw the ball down the field like we have all year long. The kid's thrown 23 touchdown passes to 4 interceptions. If you continue a ratio like that, you're going to have a chance to win games because it gives you explosive plays, and we're not turning the ball over. Now, if you can do those two things on offense, you're going to have a chance to score some points. It's going to be an interesting game, Tim, because I think the special teams will play into it about flipping the field. We've got to continue doing a great job punting, and our kickoff has been outstanding, as I mentioned to a little bit earlier in the show. If those two things continue, we can maybe flip the field and make those guys go a long way. Because one of the things that you try to do defensively is not give up those explosive plays, those 1 or 2, 3 plays. And the Heitland kid, the running back, has made a ton of explosive plays this year.
Mm-hmm. Tyler Staker is taking over for Coach Steve Staker. They handed the baton to Tyler. And
sad for me, there's only a few of us that are in that age bracket, and Steve was one of those guys that was in my age bracket. So I'm sorry to see him retire, but he's still coaching with his son, and Tyler's done a great job. I've seen information. He's got this is the first time a new head coach at Co has won 6 consecutive games, et cetera, et cetera. So good for those guys, and very happy that they're doing well, and we're excited about getting a chance to play them again.
Have they changed philosophy at all, or is it pretty much the same co-college team as you've seen?
It's surely the same co-college team I've seen defensively in the 7 years or the 8 years that we've been here. They've probably running it more than they did last year, and I think that's all based on the Heitland kid. I really think it is. He's been such a tremendous player for him. I don't know the number of total yards, but in the last 2 games he's had over 200 yards. And they're just featuring him. They're giving him the ball, and he's going to wear you down, and he's going to make somebody miss. And as I mentioned earlier, if you don't get folks to the ball, he's going to hurt you. And so we've got to really prepare hard. And I think the key to this game, Tim, has very little to do with Saturday. It's how we get our guys prepared on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
As you made reference to, this has been a real rivalry since you've come to the University of Dubuque. I was looking back at the book here, 2009. Since then, there's only been 2 times that game's been over a 1-score ball game.
Absolutely. I remember our second year here. We're playing them up here, and they've got a hell of a team with Brad Bohl. He's the MVP of the league, second time along. And I don't know what we lost to him, either 2014 or 16-14, but in a heck of a football game that I felt we should have won, and they won the league that year. And since then, it's been pretty nip and tuck. And, a rivalry always is good when you have 2 good teams, and I think these are 2 good teams. It'll be a lot of fun for our players. Again, what's kind of cool, Tim, for us is our young guys, they don't know what the heck, what rivalry, Coach? Well, we've got so many young guys we don't know, but, again, we stress the importance of playing fast.
Coach, we're going to let you go here, but Jay Schlichter, your graduate assistant,
Yeah.
coach of the outside linebacker, is going to come over. Tell us a little bit about Jay before he comes over here.
Well, I coached Jay's dad a long time ago, and Jay's dad was an outstanding football player at Minnesota State Mankato. We were not Minnesota State Mankato at that time. We were Mankato State University, MSU, at that time, and Jay's father, Dave, was a very outstanding high school athlete at Worthington, Minnesota, and played defensive back for us at Mankato. And he still holds a record in the NCAA record book for the longest interception that wasn't a touchdown. We were playing Southwest State. He intercepted the ball at the goal line, ran 99 yards, and got tackled at the 1.
Oh, man.
And I was saying, please get in, because it was a terrible, rainy, sloppy day, and we couldn't do jack offensively. Took us 4 snaps to get the dang ball in, but we won the game in that, and have really fond memories of Dave, Jay's father. And then, of course, Jay played at University of Minnesota Duluth and played in a national championship team and has done an outstanding job, helped us with the O-line last fall, and I thought to get him ready to get his first full-time job, we'd put him on the defensive side of the ball, and he's done an outstanding job.
All right. Well, Coach, we'll see you here at Chalmers on Saturday, and we'll talk to you later in the week for our pregame show, but we'll look forward to joining you up on Saturday. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Tim. We'll see you soon.
All right. Stan Zweifel, head football coach at the University of Dubuque, joining us on the UD Football Show. And again, Jay Schlichter, coaching the outside linebackers this year. He's going to come over and grab the headsets and join us next on 101.1 The River. We're back on the UD Football Show here on this Monday night, and we're going to talk with Jay Schlichter, the graduate assistant helping out the outside linebackers this year on the show right now. And Jay, thanks for stopping by here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Well, did your dad relive that story about that 99-yard interception to you several times over your childhood or even today?
I think the first time I heard it, I was probably about 6 or 7, and I didn't believe it and didn't believe it and didn't believe it. And then, sure enough, when we were moving my grandparents out of their house, there is video evidence of this, and it's a sight to see. And Coach Z is not BSing about having 6 inches of water on the field. It's a lake out there.
Oh my goodness! So. Well, it's too bad he couldn't get 1 more yard there and get that touchdown, but that's the way it goes.
That's the way it goes.
Well, we want to talk about your start your coaching career here at the University of Dubuque. Coach said you started out last year on the offensive line, moving over to the defensive side of the ball. How's the transition been there?
I've been on offense my whole life. I played tight end in college, and so it's been a learning experience. Coach Carl's been great, a great mentor to have. He's taught me a great deal about defense, and Coach Dernan's been right there too, and learning a lot from Austin Hughes, who is stepping into that full-time role this year, and just learning a lot about defense that hopefully help me down the road when I'm an offensive coordinator down the road, and it's been an awesome experience.
Let's talk about the Spartan defensive unit that you're helping to shape. They've really improved from game 1 on to what's going to be game 7 now. And from your view, just talk about where the defense has grown as you've seen it.
They've made some big strides in fundamentals and tackling. The first game we didn't tackle as good as we should have. And each week we've gotten better and better, and you see that in the yards allowed and total points. But turnovers, I think, have been huge. Making big plays on the ball. Ravon Woods last week against Central running and stripping the football from the quarterback. Derek Trotter and hopping on it right there, being the man, Johnny on the spot, and doing little things like that is what wins you football games. Even if you're giving up yards, but you defend the goal line, don't let them in, you're going to be very successful. You're
specializing, as we mentioned, with the outside linebackers and a pretty young core of linebackers throughout. Just talk about the players that occupy that position.
When we sat down for our first meeting, we meet with the defensive backs, and I had 6 outside linebackers, and my oldest guy is a sophomore. I had 3 sophomores, and the rest were freshmen. It's been, up and down experience, guys moving in and out of the position based on, different opponents, and we've kind of really settled in with Joey McMahon. He's really brought it on the last 4 or 5 weeks. He's got great speed, really brings the boom when he goes to hit guys, and he's really kind of come on with it. And then Louis De La Cruz, bounces inside and outside. Louis is Mr. Fundamental, the Tim Duncan of our team, really. He's not going to make very many mistakes. He's going to be in every spot he needs to be in and make any tackles. Would love to see him pick off that second play yesterday on Saturday, but right spot, got a little pass breakup, and can't ask for much more than that.
How high is the ceiling for this defense? They've still got a lot of areas to come around in.
I don't think we've got anywhere close to our ceiling. We've yet to put together a complete game. You saw bits and pieces of it during drives against Nebraska Wesleyan and Central. But that one drive, I think early in the third quarter, they went down the field as a 14-play drive or something like that. We can't give those up going into a game against Coe or Wartburg in the conference. You can't do that. But I do think the pieces are there, and once we string it together, it'll be something special. This defense, just because of the speed, the athleticism, and our ability to take the ball away from our opponents, really makes this defense have the potential to be special.
You mentioned that word speed, and that is one thing that is really noticeable about the defense as a group this year.
No, I mean, just every day of practice, you go out and you watch Skelly, and our Skelly this year is so much faster than last year. And they're young kids. That's the thing about our defense is we have two seniors that played last week. We have Will Hudson and Justin Wilson, and that's it. And you have a few juniors on the back end. Otherwise, they're sophomores, they're freshmen, but they all bring something to the table. And speed is the common theme throughout. That really is fun to watch. It's fun to watch them compete, and it makes up for a little bit of youth. Maybe you're late on a break, but you can make it to close it down because you got some speed.
Jay, nice work this season for you and the rest of the Spartan staff, and good luck as you guys get ready to take on Coe College this Saturday. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Tim. Really appreciate the time.
All right, Jay Slick, the graduate assistant with the outside linebackers, joining us on the UD Football Show here tonight. That's all for the show this evening. Tune in Saturday for Spartan football here on 101.1 The River, and also on the university's website, dbq.edu, where you can get that live stream, or you can download the app off of Google Play Store, the Spartan Nation Fan Rewards mobile app, and that'll take you right to that stream as well. So we'll look forward to the broadcast again, 1:40 Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock kickoff from Chalmers Field as the Spartans take on the Cohawks. That's going to do it here from Chalmers Field this evening. I'm Tim Larry on 101.1 The River.